All right, let's open up with a prayer. Face the east towards Jerusalem, where our temple was, and where our temple in Hamashiach shall return. Our Father, Yahweh, Elohim, the Allah of Abraham, Yashra'al, and Yaakov. Covenant Father, Elohim, Yashra'al, we thank you once again, Yah, for your mercy throughout the week. We ask you, please, Yah, we beg you, please forgive us of our sins and trespasses, Yah. Leave a merciful heart within us so that we judge the way we want to be met. Yah, please allow for our eyes to be open so that we can see the error in our own ways first, as well as to help our brothers and sisters and admonish and rebuke according to your word and love and kindness, Yah. Yah, as we come on this Shabbat, Yah, we ask that you allow your spirit, wisdom, and understanding to reside with us as we divide these scriptures, Yah, so that we can have a better understanding of your prophecy and your plan that you have set forth for your children of Yashra'al, so that we can give you all the glory through our obedience and through our faith and through our patience to wait on you, Yah, for you to do the things that you have ordained since the beginning of time, Yah. So we thank you, Yah, for allowing us to gain into some understanding, and we ask that you allow those that are not able to be with us, but that view or listen, to also gain, be able to walk with that understanding throughout the other 6 days of the week as well. Yah, these things we thank you, pray for your holy, humble in his Son, Yahshua HaMashiach, the Savior, Lord of Yah. Through him we pray. Amen. Scoot over this way a little bit, brother. All right, Shabbat Shalom. My name is Yashra'al, my brother Wesley Yashra'al.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. And title of today's Shabbat service is Purged unto Growth or Death. Purged. Purged, P-U-R-G-E-D, like the movie The Purge. Unto growth or death. And it's very interesting when you look at that movie, The Purge, where people get to purge out their wickedness by doing wickedness, to satisfy some beastly nature. And that's what's in us. When we decide to do what's pleasing unto the flesh, we're going to do all kind of beastly type things. Well, throughout this plan of salvation, the Father is constantly purging. He's purging for several reasons, purging or pruning. And in this purging or proving or trying process, we are going to be either purged so that we can grow, so that we can get rid of the things that are preventing our spiritual growth into salvation, or we're going to be purged unto death and removed
given to a reprobate mind or a part of a falling away, we're going to be purged away. So it's a constant process from the beginning all the way to the end is a purging process. So it helps us to understand how to benefit from that purging process so that this purging could be unto our growth and not unto our death. So we're going to first open up in Bereshit, Genesis chapter 6. And a little bit of current events if you watch what's going on. And of course, we only get what the media is allowing us to see. America is still trying to start problems or continue these problems with Iran. And that's becoming quite a problem. We're sending over warships and all kind of stuff. And it's not looking good. The rest of the world is saying, look, we're not going to support you, America, going into these territory, but still we trying to push along. So just pay attention as these things progress. It could be a matter of one decision that change everything. So again, the title is Purged Unto Growth or Death, and we're starting from the beginning, early in Genesis, and we're going to see a purging going on. And Shabbat Shalom, sis Janiyah Sims, good to see you. Shabbat Shalom, brother Frederick Ben Yahuwah. Shabbat Shalom, brother Robert Simmons, and Shabbat Shalom, brother Raymond Orbson. Good to see y'all, family. And Shabbat Shalom, Yvette Moore. Good to see y'all. Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 6, Bereshit, and verse 1. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of Elohim saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And Yahweh said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years.
All right, so what Yah is saying here, my spirit shall not always strive with man. I'm not going to always just continue striving with this man that don't want to do righteousness. So he numbered the days, 120 years. So that means from this time, there's 120 years left before he's wiping out the people. Go ahead.
There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of Elohim came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown.
All right, so which were of old, men of renown. So now when we see in verse 4, we see this giants. Automatically we think of Jack and the Beanstalk and these giants and these giant men walking around. And it probably was larger people. But when you look at the Hebrew word that's here, you want to make sure you understand what's being said here. So if you look at the Hebrew word for giants, it's Nephil, which is H5303. Nephil, like the Nephilim. These are the big people. And this is from H5307, properly a feller. That is a bully or a tyrant. So this is somebody that was causing a lot of ruckus in the earth, that was powerful, that was a bully or a tyrant. It doesn't necessarily mean it was somebody 100 feet tall. Go ahead.
And Yahweh saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented Yahweh that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And Yahweh said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repents me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of Yahweh.
All right, so Noah found grace. So grace didn't start in the New Testament. Noah is finding grace. And notice here, he said, I'm going to wipe off man from the face of the earth, both man and beast and creeping thing, because the earth was defiled. So it had to be purged of this wickedness. Go ahead.
These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with Elohim.
So he walked with Yah. He walked with Elohim. He was perfect in his generation. So this is how he found grace. The whatever knowledge of righteousness and just he had in him, he walked according to that and believed in Yah. Go ahead.
So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Noah had to learn righteousness from somewhere, right? So would it be keen to say that people knew the right way to walk back then, or?
Yeah, the Most High communicated with people back then. You know, there was always a spirit of righteousness that a man can choose to listen to that spirit or follow the animal nature. So of his time, he was choosing not to follow the animal nature and walk with Elohim and walk according to the righteousness that was given to him at that time. And if you go into book of Enoch, it'll talk more about Noah and who he talked to and his information and how he was learning righteousness.
Okay. And Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before Elohim, and the earth was filled with violence. And Elohim looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And Elohim said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make you an ark of gopher wood. Room shall you make in the ark, and shall pitch it within and without with pitch.
All right, well, we can stop right there. So we just wanted to see this is the purging going on in the earth. And we all know the further story of Noah. He was given this prophecy that the earth was going to be destroyed, that man was going to be destroyed off of the earth. And he preached and warned people for a little under 120 years was he warning folks while he's building his ark and preparing for this rain. You know, and people didn't want to listen. But yet, Yah still went on with his purging process because it's all according to his plan. Let's move on. Let's go to Joshua chapter 4. Excuse me, Yeshua chapter 5. Joshua chapter 5. And Shabbat Shalom, Yah lives. Good to see you. Sis, good to see you. Shabbat Shalom.
Joshua chapter 5, Yeshua, and verse 1.
And we're going to actually start this from verse 4 through verse 12.
And this is the
Actually,
call.
you're right. Start this at verse 1.
Okay. And it came to pass when all the kings of the Amorites, which were on the side of Jordan westward, and all the kings of the Canaanites, which were by the sea, heard that Yahweh had dried up the waters of Jordan from before the children of Yashra'al, until we were passed over, that their heart melted, neither was there spirit in them anymore, because of the children of Yashra'al.
Interesting. Now, when you look at the Jordan River right now, I'm doing a little bit of research into the, understanding the Jordan River and understanding that region. It's drying out right now as we speak. It went from, where it was a very wide river to now where it's like you can almost throw a stone across it. So it's happening all over again. It's being dried. Go ahead.
At that time Yahweh said unto Joshua, make you sharp knives, and circumcise again the children of Yashra'al the second time. And Joshua made them sharp knives, and circumcised the children of Yashra'al at the hill of the foreskins. And this is the cause why Joshua did circumcise. All the people that came out of Mitzrayim, Egypt, that were males, even all the men of war, died in the wilderness by the way, after they came out of Mitzrayim.
So this is another purging process going on. He already purged the earth and started it over with these 8 people, and now he's doing the same thing here with the children of Yashra'al, where he has to circumcise these children born in the wilderness, because everybody that was 20 years and older, except for 2 people, Caleb and Yeshua, died in that wilderness, was purged out from the kingdom. You are not going to bring in Babylonian ways, Egyptian bondage ways into Yah's kingdom. You have to be purged before you can enter his kingdom. Now, if you can't purge yourself of these idolistic, Babylonian, confused, wicked, heathen ways, then you will be purged from the kingdom. Or you can have these things purged from you, allow Yah to direct you and be obedient, and you could be purged into growing into a new fruit. something that can be blossom in Jerusalem. Go ahead.
Now all the people that came out were circumcised, but all the people that were born in the wilderness by the way, as they came forth out of Mitzrayim, them they had not circumcised. For the children of Yashra'al walked 40 years in the wilderness, till all the people that were men of war which came out of Mitzrayim were consumed, because they obeyed not the voice of Yahweh, unto whom Yahweh sware that he would not show them the land which Yahweh sware unto their fathers that he would give us, a land that flows with milk and honey. And their children whom he raised up in their stead, them Yahshua circumcised, for they were uncircumcised, because they had not circumcised them by the way. And it came to pass, when they had done circumcising all the people, that they abode in their places in the camp till they were whole.
All right, let's stop right there. Let's go to Romans chapter 9. Romans chapter 9. Shabbat shalom, Sister Farah. Where you at? Romans chapter 9. Romans chapter 9, and we're going to start this at verse 1.
I say the truth in Mashiach, I lie not, my conscience also bearing me witness in the Holy Spirit, the Ruach Kodesh, that I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Mashiach for my brethren, my kinsmen according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertains the adoption and the glory and the covenants, and the giving of the law and the service of Elohim and the promises, whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, Mashiach came, who is over all, Elohim blessed forever. Amen.
All right, so he's telling you, these are my kinsmen according to the flesh. This is my bloodline, which are Israelites. And he's telling to what pertains to these Israelites. What have they received? The adoption, the glory, the covenants, the giving of the law, and the service of Elohim, and the promises. And all of these things are concerning who the flesh Mashiach came for. So he came for his brothers and sisters of Israel, and we received all these blessings. But to receive these blessings, there's going to be a purging process within this as well. Go ahead.
Not as though the word of Elohim has taken none effect, for they are not all Yashra'al, which are of Yashra'al.
All right, so there's even a purging process within the people. Just because you bloodline doesn't mean that you are going to be upright with all, that you're going to receive that spirit, that Holy Spirit.
Neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children, but in Yishak shall your seed be called. That is, they which are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of Elohim, but the children of the promise are counted for the seed. For this is the word of promise, at this time will I come, and Sarah shall have a son. And not only this, but when Rebekah also had conceived by one, even by our father Yishak. For the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the promise of Elohim according to the election might stand, not of works, but of him that calls. It was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated.
As it is written. Go ahead.
What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with Elohim? Certainly not. For he said to Moshe, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion.
All right, so we have to understand that. That's why we can't go in to start to judge individual, because Yah will choose whom he will have mercy on and whom he won't have mercy on. And with us, he decided to have mercy on us. This is why our eyes are open and why we're able to see things and why we're able to be purged unto growth. But if we don't take advantage of that opportunity and receive that mercy, he can purge you unto death. Go ahead.
So then it is not of him that wills, nor of him that runs, but of Elohim that shows mercy.
It's all about Yah's mercy. So we understand during this grace period, it's all about mercy. So we have to be instruments of that mercy, showing people the difference between right and wrong, leading as an example, but not throwing somebody away and judging them and saying that Yah can't have mercy on them, because it's not our decision on whom Yah will have mercy on.
For the scripture says unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised you up, that I might show my power in you, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. So I have a question about that. What is it that we can do to facilitate that process of him, of the Most High showing that power through us?
Believing, because the system wants to fight against the carnal is going to fight against the spiritual. It's a constant battle, light and darkness. So to show Yah's strength through you, you have to hold and believe into the principles that he's given us to live our life. Basically, walk according to these commandments. Walk the way Yahshua walked, and you will be delivered in the same manner that he's delivered. And then people see the might, because they say, look, I know that individual. He had these certain hang-ups or these certain faults, but he elected to be obedient to the Father, and look at the works that Yah is doing in your life. You're already doing that, and how he's changing you in your life and making you more of a powerful instrument for him, for his works. So when we make these decisions ourselves and depend on ourselves for everything, well, I'm going to make this happen, then people are going to think that you're the powerful one. They give you the credit. This is why Yah is constantly saying, no, there's too many. Whittle them down to a smaller amount so that the enemy will feel like they got them hedged in, and then I'm going to deliver them so the world can know that I'm the power, that I'm the strength.
Okay. Romans chapter 9 and verse 18.
And Shabbat Shalom, Linnell Mangan. Good to see you.
Therefore has he mercy on whom he will have mercy, and whom he will he hardens. You will say then unto me, why does he yet find fault? For who has resisted his will? But O man, who are you that replies against Elohim? Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, why have you made me thus? Has not the potter power over the clay, of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor? What if Elohim, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction, and that he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy, which he had afore prepared unto glory? Even us, whom he has called, not of the Yahudim only, but also of the Gentiles. As he said also in OC, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which was not beloved. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, you are not my people, there shall they be called the children of the living Elohim. And cut it short in righteousness, because a short work will Yahweh make upon the earth. And as Isaiah said before, except Yahweh Shabbat had left a seed, we had been as Sodom and been made like unto Gomorrah. What shall we say then? That the Gentiles which followed not after righteousness have attained to righteousness, even the righteousness which is of faith? But Yashra'al, which followed after the law of righteousness, has not attained to the law of righteousness. Wherefore? Because they sought it not by faith, but as it were by the works of the law, for they stumbled at the stumbling stone.
All right, so this is where we fell, because we sought it not by faith. Not in faith in this word that we would be righteous. We followed it by works. In other words, animal sacrifices. I did wrong, but I did my animal sacrifice, so I'm not a bad person. So if I got many animals to sacrifice, then I can continue doing the wickedness as long as I can afford to pay for my wickedness. So we sought righteousness that way and didn't have any faith in this word that, okay, if I keep these commandments, then I will learn how to apply these things in the spirit of the law and the letter of the law. That's not where our faith was. Whereas the Gentile was trying to learn righteousness, was trying to learn how to do things the right way because they weren't under a law system like the way we had. They had to be taught, okay, you need to do the right thing. Go ahead.
As it is written, behold, I lay in Zion a stumbling stone and rock of offense, and whosoever believes on him shall not be ashamed.
All right, so this stumbling stone, this word, these commandments, it's a stumbling stone for you. It's either for you to fall on or for it to fall on you. So at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're learning how to apply these things, not learning how to fall under the blood of the Mashiach and say, well, I'm not going to try to do the right thing. I'm just going to continually hide under this grace. What happens when the grace is up? How are you going to know how to operate? You got to allow this word to purge you, to purge your deeds, to purge the way your mind operates, the way you make decisions, which are usually purely geared towards your own benefit. And allow the word to purge these things from you, to purge those thoughts, to purge those actions that you do, and allow the will of the Most High to work through you. Let's go to Matthew chapter 7. So it talks about all they of Israel are not Israel. So who's your family?
Those who do the will of the Most High.
Amen. Those that do the will of YAH.
Matthew chapter 7 and verse 1.
And we understand that, in our lives is a purging of people that we considered family in our lives, or even real family members. There's a purging process. Yah wants you to grow and be part of a everlasting family. So during certain seasons, he might purge certain people or purge certain parts of your family so that you can grow. It's to promote growth so you can bear more fruit. Or it could be stripped from you and you could be away from the blood, away from the tree, away from the family. And that will be unto your own demise.
Matthew chapter 7 and verse 1. Judge not that you be not judged. For with what judgment you judge, you shall be judged. And with what measure you meet, it shall be measured to you again. And why behold you the mote that is in your brother's eye, but consider not the beam that is in your own eye? Or how will you say to your brother, let me pull out the mote out of your eye, and behold, a beam is in your own eye? You hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of your own eye, and then shall you see clearly to cast out the mote out of your brother's eye. Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast you your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet, and turn again and rend you.
All right, so if you look at that concept about pulling out the mote in your own eye instead of worrying about the beam, the mote in your brother's eye instead of worrying about the big beam you got in your own eye. Well, if you're pruning and you're trimming, a plant that you want to bear fruit, if you go approach that plant and you got this big old thing coming out of your eye, you can't even see properly to say, let me prune this properly, let me do this. Your whole vision is off. Not that you can't see that there's something that needs to be purged or pruned, but your vision is off. And that's why we got to work on our own individual vision. Let me at least be able to get a clear view of a situation first so that I could try to help. But I can't help until I can get a clear view. This is why we have to seek diligently into a matter. And partial of that seeking in that matter is making sure I have a clear perspective, a clear view. If you're trying to see something and you can't see clearly, you gotta do something to unobstruct your view, whether you gotta move or whether you gotta fix your sight.
Also, I think it's also having a clear view of yourself as well, because it's like once you are able to see the truth about yourself, you can see the truth about others too, you know what I'm saying? And you can see that, hey, we're pretty much in the same boat. We're all flawed, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that will help you allow to show mercy to other people, the same mercy that you would want,
Right. And that's why it starts off in the chapter saying, judge not that you be not judged. Because it's before time. You judging the thing before the matter. You haven't seen all the evidence. You haven't seen how the vessel is going to react to the Holy Spirit or to the Spirit of truth or the light or the word. You have to just keep exposing it. Go ahead.
Verse 7, ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asks receives, and he that seeks finds, and to him that knocks it shall be opened. Or what man is there of you, whom if his son asks bread, will he give him a stone? Or if he asks a fish, will he give him a serpent? If you then, being evil, know how to give good gifts unto your children, how much more shall your Father which is in heaven give good things to them that ask him?
But that's the Father, YAH. So it behooves us to try to be sons and daughters of the Most High so that we can elicit that type of treatment, because the adversary, the devil, don't care about you. If you try to do the acts that make him your father, then you're going to get the same results that he get. Go ahead.
Therefore, all things whatsoever you would that men should do to you, do you even so to them, for this is the law and the prophets. Enter you in at the strait gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat.
So verse 12, therefore all things whatever you would that men should do to you, do you even unto them, for this is the law and the prophets. So that's like what they call the golden rule: do unto others as you want done unto you. Now, how does that relate to verse 3? Why beholds you the mote that's in your brother's eye, but considers not the beam that's in your own eye? How do those two things tie up? Treat people the way you want to be treated.
Because you wouldn't want to be judged for your flaws, or you'd want to be given mercy for your flaws, to kind of work on your own issues too, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. You want that mercy. You don't want somebody just judging you right away because you got this beam in your eye. You want somebody to help you to remove the beam out of your eye, right, not to throw you in the lake of fire. And furthermore, if you got this big beam in your eye, you don't know, your vision is not clear. You don't know how to love yourself because you got this big beam in your eye. So how are you going to love somebody else according to the way you want to be loved? You don't have a proper understanding of love because you got a big beam impacting the vision of your eyes, or your spiritual vision. Your third eye just completely shut. So now I treat people the way you want to be treated. Man, I cuss people out because I like to be cussed out, because I got a problem because my mom or my dad used to cuss me out. So I just feel comfortable getting cussed out. So I cuss people out, or I'm, aggressive because I was raised aggressively or whatever. So we treat people the way we want to be treated because we got this big beam in our eye. We haven't run up our own ways and the ways of our forefathers. This is why we have to confess the sins of us and our forefathers, and then compare that to his word and purge out the unfruitful deeds of that, the unfruitful things. And now we can keep that second greatest commandment, which is to love your neighbor as yourself. You can fulfill all the law and the prophets at that point.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, brother. Good to see you. You can fulfill all the law of the prophets at that point, because now you have a clear vision, because you have sought to clear your vision so you can see better. And now you can make decisions on how I would, I can see clearly, and I want to treat my brother in love because I understand what love is, because I can see that clearly. Good to see you, brother Ken and YAH. Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. And we're at Matthew chapter 7 and verse 14. And the title of the service today is Purged unto Growth or Death. Purged unto growth or death.
Because strait is the gate and narrow is the way which leads unto life, and few there be that find it.
If few there be that find it, do you really feel safe in a huge, giant group of people walking one direction, and when you look left and right, you're like, these people don't understand the word? That's dangerous. Something ain't right. This pastor is not teaching or showing me the times of what's going on, or how to prepare for what YAH say is his will is coming. I'm not being prepared, but everybody loves this, and it's a great time, and we're having fun. But Yeshua in the red writing, the Savior word of YAH is telling few there be that find it. Because the majority of us are going to be purged out just by the lust of our flesh. Well, we more concerned with what is pleasing to us, what we want to do, rather than let me try to align with Yah's will. Go ahead.
Matthew chapter 7 and verse 15. Beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. You shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles?
This is how you always evaluate a vessel. You know them by their fruit. Especially if it's somebody that's claiming to be a servant of the Most High. How you know a sheep in wolf's clothing? Look at their fruit. Look at how they treat people. Look at how they talk to people. Look at their works. Is their work self-centered? Or is it word-centered, Yah-centered? Is it all about something that's going to benefit them? Or is it going to benefit the nation? Look at their fruit. Look at the people that are coming. This is like what we were talking about in the car earlier. The people that are under their tutorship. That's their fruit. How are they operating? Are they treating people kindly? Are they following the word? Are they helping other individuals? Are they bearing fruit themselves? Because you could have them GMO Hebrews. That, yeah, you bear one fruit, but there's no more seed in it. It can't multiply because this word is a seed. Literally. Her seed and the serpent seed. Her seed is this word. The serpent seed is yourself. Yourself, your beast nature, what you want to do. If you don't have this word seed implanted in you, yeah, you here, you a fruit, but you can't bear anything. So a fruit that can't bear nothing is being purged away. It's being used. And it will cause problems in the body if it's ingested, because the same chemicals that's put into that fruit to cause it not to bear fruit, that chemical is going into your body so that you don't bear fruit of your own loins. Go ahead, brother.
18. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit.
All right, so you look at that fruit, you see what tree they from. What manner of tree they from. Just like that man whose eyesight was messed up, and he looked up, he saw trees. He said, oh. Then he fixed his eyes. Then he saw, man, his vision got a little bit too good. Oh, that's before time. Now, let me reverse that. Let me go, you went a little too far, because we are like trees to the Most High. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, sis.
And Shabbat Shalom, brother Hanak. Good to see you, brother. Sis Eviava J. Joy asked the question, great question. Is the serpent found in everybody? Yes. That's your beast nature. That's why you sin. But see, a good seed was planted there originally, but they said, well, how did all these tares sprout up? How did the tares sprout up? According to the parable. Anybody?
The enemy.
The enemy. When did he come?
Not sure when did he come.
He come when you're looking, everybody's here. You know, Everybody's keeping Shabbat,
yeah.
And he showed up, hey, I'm here to plant tares.
Right.
Nah, the enemy came while you were asleep, while you were in a dark state, when you did not have light. Then he came and planted all these seeds. So this is how the serpent planted these seeds in us, all these tares. And we have to purge those things. It's just like fruit growing. If you let all the weeds grow, it's going to take away all the nutrients from that plant, and it's going to get purged. Go ahead, brother.
Matthew chapter 7 and verse 18. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that brings not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. Wherefore by their fruits you shall know them.
And that is one of the most valuable things that you can take with you in this word, is to learn how to evaluate fruit. Now, it doesn't mean that you judge people, because when you just, you're going to judge a little baby tree that's growing and say, man, it's worthless. Where's the apples? Chop this thing down. Nah. You got enough common sense and wisdom to say, nah, give it time to grow. As a matter of fact, let me give it some water. Let me put some compost. Let me dung it. Let me do something. We have enough common sense for that. But then when we look at individuals, we see a grown man in front of us.
Right.
We say, oh man, this dude is worthless. How old are you? You don't know this? Throw him away. But then you go back to the beginning of the chapter, verse 1, from the gate. Judge not that you be not judged. Help that tree. Do what you can because you know what the judgment is if that tree does not bear fruit. What does it say is going to happen? Verse 19.
Hewn down and cast into the fire.
That's the lake of fire. But the grace period is now, where we have the grace now to learn how to be fruitful and to bear fruit, which is to multiply this seed of life, this Savior word of YAH, to multiply that seed, to constantly plant that seed everywhere we can. And if we didn't plant it and we see a seed there growing, to water it. YAH gonna add the increase. But when it's about you, it's your ministry, all your plants got to grow because this is your harvest. You want to boast and brag. You need the glory. So you'll take anything and put it in there so you'll fill up a bunch of room with a bunch of fruitless trees that you know is going to get burnt down. But then you want to present that to the Father. Nah. A blind lead the blind. Both of them are going to fall in a ditch. We're at Matthew chapter 7 and verse 20. And the title is Purged unto Growth or Death.
Wherefore by their fruits you shall know them. Not everyone that says unto me, Master, Master, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that does the will of my Father which is in heaven.
All right, so everyone that says, oh, Adonai, Adonai, you're my master. Christ is my master. Yahushua, that's my master. I follow this word, but then you don't follow the word, you a liar. He not your master, you your master. You ate of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. That's what makes you a God. When you eat of that tree of the knowledge of good and evil, that's what makes you a God. Because now you know all the wickedness you can do. And you have the freedom to do it because nothing is going to stop you other than Yah's mercy through his chastening. Go ahead.
Many will say to me in that day, Master, Master, have we not prophesied in your name, and in your name have cast out devils, and in your name done many wonderful works?
Mm-hmm.
And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you that work iniquity.
I never knew you. Why? Because you didn't do good works? Because you didn't have good fruit? No, because you worked iniquity. You got that glory. Not the Father. The Father gets the glory when you do all those things and produce all those works by being obedient, not by doing it how you want to do it. You get glory. You a good person. You great. You self-righteous. You an awesome. You a super brew. Because you did all this yourself without Hamashiach, without this word, without Yah. But you claiming Yah. All this through Yah, I'm doing this. No, you did this yourself and you chose to not keep this word. So you get the reward. You get a nice little statue built in your name, with this building named after you. But Yahshua never knew you because his spirit wasn't in you. You didn't do this through me. You did this through yourself. Because did not the Pharaoh's magicians, did they not make a stick turn to a snake? They didn't do that through the Savior word of Yah. Because what happened when the Savior word of Yah made a snake? It ate they snakes up. Go ahead.
Verse 24.
He that comes in through another way other than through me is a robber and a thief. You might be able to slide in, maybe, but you're getting purged out.
Therefore, whosoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, I will liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon a rock. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock.
But it wasn't made in the rain. They didn't build that foundation when it was raining. They built the foundation like Noah when Noah heard that news. Hey, there's 120 years left on man, bro. It's a countdown. You better start warning folks and preparing a way for you and your family. Go ahead.
And everyone that hears these sayings of mine and does them not shall be likened unto a foolish man which built his house upon the sand. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it.
Because they were concerned with the visual. You can build a house on sand if it ain't raining and the waves ain't coming in. It looks real nice. You didn't have to build this whole foundation. Look, you just built on the sand. It's great. And if it didn't rain, you was the man. Everything was great. But if you know that rain is coming, why would you build yourself in that fashion? It's the same thing we do spiritually. We want to build it on sand because you can make it a foundation. That don't mean it's the good foundation or the right foundation. When tribulation comes your way, you getting swept away because you have no foundation in the word. You don't understand, look, man, I'm getting swept away. Like Kiefer, when Kiefer was walking on water, he started to sink. He had a foundation. He was walking on water. Then he started to sink. He had enough foundation to say, Adonai, save me. But when we build it on sand, it's too late to your house in the middle of the ocean. Finish it up.
And it came to pass when Yahshua had ended these sayings, the people were astonished at his doctrine, for he taught them as one having authority and not as the scribes.
All right, because he's talking as one that believes in what he's saying, not one who's just merely repeating the words on a page. When you believe, you speak with more authority, because this is Yah's word. If you don't like what I have to say, you don't like Yah's word, because we're reading Yah's word. So yeah, I'm speaking with authority. Who is this guy? Who are these brothers up here reading this word thinking that they can tell me what I need to do and what's right and what's wrong? Who gave you that authority? The word, because it's written. Now, if I misapplied it, you have the authority to say, no, you applied it wrong. That's on you. You got that authority. But we have the authority to speak this word because we just read in Romans chapter 9. I wish myself was accursed from the Mashiach for my kinsmen according to the flesh, and who pertaineth the giving of the law, the service of Elohim. We got that authority. Go ahead. Oh, we finished that. All right, let's move on. Let's go to Yechezkiel chapter 20, Ezekiel chapter 20.
You know, reading the end of chapter 7, Matthew chapter 7, then it's pretty clear cut to me. It seems like the Mashiach is basically saying, you know, do the word. This is what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If you do the word, and if you follow, I guess, your own word or any other word that's not my word, you know, right, the word, then, you know, this is what you're setting yourself up for.
Right. To get swept away by bad weather, because it's coming. All right, so we're going to Ezekiel, Yechezkiel, chapter 20. You know, and people, you know, we get frustrated, you know, the servants of the Most High, because we constantly, Isaiah 58, crying out to our people, listen, look, I believe this word. This is what's coming. This is the time we're in. And nobody want to listen. And, you know, you see people get up there talking about all these carnal things, and you know, and you can see the numbers through the roof, and you feel like you ain't doing something right. But if you really holding your faith to this word, and you speaking this word in honesty and purity, and saying, look, I believe this, and I'm just going to tell you what it says. And I'm going to prove to you understanding by going line by line, precept by precept, here or there, here a little, there a little. Then Noah waited it's like over 100 years. Ain't nobody listened. Nobody listened in the wilderness. Everybody 20 years and older, except for 2 people purged out, they wouldn't listen. So you can't be in this word for popularity, to get the most people. You can't validate yourself by having all these people. You validate yourself and say, how was my walk in comparison to HaMashiach? That's how you validate yourself. When he was doing miracles, the place was packed to the wall. When he said, eat my flesh and drink my blood. Whoa. With nobody around then. Oh, wait, that's harsh. I don't like the way that sounds. Did you take the time to ask, what does that mean? HaMashiach? Some people show up for food, and other people show up for spiritual food.
Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 1. And it came to pass in the 7th year, in the 5th month, the 10th day of the month, that certain of the elders of Yashra'al came to inquire of Yahweh and sat before me. Then came the word of Yahweh unto me, saying, Son of man, speak unto the elders of Yashra'al and say unto them, Thus says my sovereign Yahweh, Are you come to inquire of me? As I live, says my sovereign Yahweh, I will not be inquired of by you. Will you judge them, son of man? Will you judge them? Cause them to know the abominations of their fathers, and say unto them, Thus says my sovereign Yahweh, In the day when I chose Yashra'al, and lifted up my hand unto the seed of the house of Jacob, and made myself known unto them in the land of Mizraim, when I lifted up my hand unto them, saying, I am Yahweh your Elohim. In the day that I lifted up my hand unto them, to bring them forth of the land of Mizraim into the land that I had espied for them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all lands. Then said I unto them, Cast you away every man the abominations of his eyes, and defile not yourselves with the idols of Mizraim. I am Yahweh your Elohim.
All right, so it's a purging process immediately. All right, I'm adopting you, I'm bringing you, I'm taking you to my land. Let the purging, the proving, and the trying process begin. And he starts with you. You start. Get rid of these things. I'm going to purge out the rest of these things if you are a vessel of honor and can survive this heat. But you start. You purge these things. Shabbat shalom, brothers.
Shabbat shalom.
Good to see you, family. You start by purging these things. You pull. What a coincidence. We in Yashra'al. Here comes Yashra'al strolling in. All right. So he put it on us first. Okay, you serious? You wanna put away the abominations of your father? All right, you start here. Show me that you want. You take 2 steps towards YAH, he's gonna take 4 steps towards you. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 8. But they rebelled against me, and would not hearken unto me. They did not every man cast away the abominations of their eyes, neither did they forsake the idols of Mizraim. Then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them, to accomplish my anger against them in the midst of the land of Mizraim. But I wrought for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted before the heathen, among whom they were, in whose sight I made myself known unto them, in bringing them forth out of the land of Mizraim. Wherefore I caused them to go forth out of the land of Mizraim, and brought them into the wilderness.
So anytime we read about us leaving the house of bondage and going into the wilderness, this is happening again. This is the process that we are getting ready to enter into with this 400-year captivity. So we need to pay attention. Yah don't do these new things. He don't do anything without telling his servants, the prophets, first. So he's telling us how things are going to be, and he's giving us an example of how things were so we can learn from those mistakes. That's the whole purpose of history, so you don't repeat the same mistakes. Go ahead.
And I gave them my statutes, and showed them my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. Moreover, also I gave them my Shabbats, to be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am Yahweh that sanctified them.
If you know that this adversary is a roaming lion looking to whom he may devour, and it's just a matter of time before he catch you out here. Why? And you know Yah is your only protection. But you got to show a sign unto him to let him know, listen, I'm one of yours. Protect me. Send me your protection too. You want to send a weak sign up there? If you got to put the Batman sign up there, you want to take your flashlight and put it up there? I put it up there. You see the sign? Or you want to put a big, huge sign to Yah. Message, sign to Yah. I'm your child. Protect me. These folks trying to kill me. That's what this Sabbath is, literally. He's looking, said, this is a sign. I'm paying attention. Where my people at? Every 7th day I look up. Where my people at? Where they at? Who's showing me my sign? Because I see all this destruction coming out, and I got to whittle off 2/3, which we're going to read in that. I got to whittle off 66% of my people. Let me look up and see who's showing me my sign. Because all those people here, let me protect those people. Go ahead. Play with that sign if you want.
But the house of Yashra'al rebelled against me in the wilderness, They walk not in my statutes, and they despise my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. And my Shabbats they greatly polluted. Then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them in the wilderness to consume them.
You being Yashra'al, Israel, that ain't gonna save you. It didn't save anybody in this book just because you was bloodline. He wiped them out. We started in the beginning of the book, he wiped out everybody except for 8 people. Then we went into the wilderness, everybody 20 years or older wiped out, except for 2 people. Would you think that was in his youth? He was a fiery young man in his youth, and he grew up and got more reserved? Stop it. This is the same Elohim. He don't care if you Israel or you not Israel. There's a purging process going along, and he is fair. Go ahead.
Verse 14.
Shabbat shalom, elder.
Shabbat shalom. Ezekiel, Yeketskiel, chapter 20 and verse 14. But I wrought for my name's sake that it should not be polluted before the heathen, in whose sight I brought them out. Yet also I lifted up my hand unto them in the wilderness, that I would not bring them into the land which I had given them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all lands. Because they despised my judgments, and walked not in my statutes, but polluted my Shabbats, for their heart went after their idols.
Listen, if I have a child, and that child is important to me, this is my daughters or my daughters, brothers that know me and understand how important my little girls are to me. And my instruction to you is to watch out for them. And you agree. And you don't watch out for them, you despise my judgments. You despise my law. You despise my instruction. You hate it because you know this is so important to me. This is a weightier matter to me, and you didn't care about it. That means you hated it. Now, if it was something little like, hey, bro, just, make sure you cut the light off in the 18th floor down in the basement. There's 18 basement floors. Oh, you might have made a mistake. You forgot. I ain't gonna say you despise me because you ain't cut off a light in 18 floors. But my child? So this is the same thing he's talking about here. This is the second time he's talking about his Shabbats. How important. He's not even finished talking about his Shabbats. But you despise it. If something this important like his holy days, his Shabbats, loving your neighbor like yourself, you despise those. You don't care about those